All right, so what are some of the other examples? And I promise you I'm about to finish here. Where are we going? What are the consequences of this? Well, one is mediocrity for everyone. Have you heard about the achievement gap? We have to worry about the achievement gap. And a local school board member in Bibb County, Georgia, told me that it's a whole lot easier to fix the achievement gap by lowering the top than it is by raising the bottom. So Common Core lowers the top so that it doesn't look like there's an achievement gap, because you get rid of the academic content. That's why there's an achievement gap. Some kids learn it better than other kids for whatever reasons. So you get rid of that. You grade people on all this baloney stuff, on whether they can collaborate and reach consensus and communicate and all that stuff. And then everybody looks good, right? And we're all happy. All right. The death of individual achievement, because everything is about collaboration. And I found this from a professor at Marquette who talked about maybe we've gone overboard on this collaboration stuff because we seem to be killing the individual innovative instinct. She said that we're doing collaboration at the expense of individual ideation. It may undermine and erode individualism and the imaginative spirit. You think? Yeah, I think it really does. I have a friend who is sort of an email pen pal. He's a guy in Massachusetts, an older guy, who runs the Concord Review, which is a journal that publishes the best of student research papers. They're wonderful research papers, 20,000 words on historic topics. And he's been watching the interest in this among schools die down over the years. And he can't figure out why they're not interested in trying to get students to do this. And I had an epiphany one day when I was working on this PowerPoint. I said, it's because that's individual. A research paper is something you do on your own. You're not collaborating with anybody else. You're doing it in your room with your research and you're writing it yourself. It's coming out of your brain. That's what we're going to lose. All right, so what else are we doing? We are going to end up with a national curriculum. They tried it with national history curriculum in the 90s, and that crashed and burned. So now they're doing it with Common Core. We will get there. We will go from English and math to the next generation science standards, which are under consideration in North Dakota, and I would encourage you to make your feelings known about this. Even the Fordham Institute, which apparently was not paid by Gates to say nice things about next generation science, has said bad things about next generation science. For one thing, the next generation standards really don't have any chemistry in them because chemistry is hard. And they really don't have any physics because physics is a math-based science, right? And Common Core doesn't get kids that far. They won't have the math background to take physics, so that's not in next generation science. So you might make your views about that known to Ms. Baszler. The social studies framework is coming. There are also some health and sex education standards out there, which you don't want to learn too much about. They're not, the health and sex standards, I don't want to mislead you, they are not in Common Core. That's something that it's out there, and once the structure gets built, I can see federal money being tied to that as well. It's not here yet. Next generation science, well, we talked about that. Oh yeah, it's all global warming all the time. So this is the social studies framework, and this is what Arnie Duncan said about what we need to do with social studies. U.S. can no longer meet global challenges like developing sustainable sources of energy, reducing poverty and disease, or curbing air pollution and global warming without collaborating with other countries. And the U.S. cannot meet those global challenges without students developing critical thinking skills and cross-cultural understanding. The new generation of civic education initiatives move beyond your grandmother's civics to that has been labeled action civics. So we're going to create little community organizers. These are the national sexuality standards, which go beyond the sex education, and they get into all this thing about the family structures, and you've got to have the respect for all the different family structures, and you can read it yourself. All right, David Coleman in his new position at the College Board. I hope y'all have heard something about this controversy because we've been working real hard for the last few months for people to hear about this. But the AP U.S. History course has been rewritten and released under the auspices of David Coleman. And we've written a lot about it. We've talked to a lot of people in state boards of education, and we've actually gotten the attention of David Coleman himself on this because they redesigned the course to be a very leftist, revisionist, sort of anti-American, all negative all the time kind of course. And this is going to usurp your state history standards. And this is not part of Common Core. This is sort of separate, except that I find it intriguing that there's this connection with Mr. Coleman.